Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the new Icy Wind variant of the Shadow Abomasnow. And honestly, I did not really think that this would be an upgrade for this Pokemon, but on PvPoke it's an upgrade and it's the preferred moveset on this Pokemon as well. But also when I played it, it was amazing. Honestly, I did not really expect that this team would be I actually expected that this team would be very strong, but I had to say that I tried out other teams before that with Abomasnow in the lead, which completely did not work out at all, but I also got hardwalled the entire time, so that's most likely also why. But in the back, this Pokemon worked out super well, and I can say Icy Wind is actually an upgrade over the Weather Ball, and I wonder if this is going to be the same for the Great League. If you want me to take a look at the Abomasnow in the Great League as well, let me know in the comment section. But also, let's take a look here at the team. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more of a bulky meta team because, yeah, basically I tried some other stuff beforehand, which I was not really too familiar with, and stuff that, yeah, was a little bit more spicy. It did not work out at all. Literally, I think I went 0-5 in my first set with like two different teams, I think, actually. So this was now the team that I ended up with trying out a little bit longer, and also worked out super well for me. Like, I climbed some Edo with it. I think I went total of 8-3 with this team, which is fairly decent, I would say. So let's take a look here at some more battles, and we're going to see so the Trevenant coming in, which definitely does not appreciate the Icy Wind, going to be able to get the shield from the opponent, but they're still going to have another Pokemon in the back, and so I'm going to use the shield here as I kind of want to still keep my Abomasnow healthy. The opponent is not swapping out here, and I decided to swap out. I thought that the opponent would swap out on their own, but they didn't, so I'm now going to be stuck in this matchup, which is definitely not really ideal for me, but because we still have the Psycho Boost, it's going to be kind of fine here. Honestly, Deoxys is really strong in the current meta, so like if you have one, definitely use it. Next opponent, we're going to have a Greedent in the lead, and this actually is something that happened twice. I hope that the other battle is also in there. Like, we're going to see here the Greedent in the lead, which is going to be a very interesting matchup. It is not like good or bad, it's kinda equal. I would say it's a little bit better maybe for me than for the opponent, but it's definitely something that really depends on if the opponent gets like a defense drop with Crunch early on, stuff like this. But here we decided to swap out anyway because we have kinda of an ABB line. It is not directly an ABB line, but we're going to have a double fighting type weakness in the back, so you kind of still want to keep your lead around. And so I decided to swap out into the Greedent. They don't have a fighting type in the back, they have the Sylveon in the back, and honestly, Greedent is so strong. Like, I made a tier list recently about the Ultra League as well. If you haven't seen this one there as well, definitely check it out. But for the Ultra League in the current meta, Greedent actually dropped some ranking compared to the last season, but I feel like it's even better than the last season because there are so many more targets for this Pokemon. Yes, you're going to have something like a Poliwrath, which is not going to be ideal for you, but for the counters for Poliwrath, for example, a Jellicent, you're going to be super good, but also against something like a Giratina, which is also more common, you're going to be way better off. We don't have this Pokemon anymore, but we're going to still have our Abomasnow, and we're still going to have Icy Wind for this Pokemon. So I decided to use a shield here on the first one, because, of course, if they're going to get to another move, the Icy Wind is going to drop their attack. It's not going to do as much damage anymore, and as you're going to see, we can just go for the full farm then afterwards. And this is the thing that happened quite often with Abomasnow, that we were like in scenarios where we can just go up against the final Pokemon and go for an Icy Wind, and then the opponent is debuffed for the rest of the match. And this is very important, as you're going to see as well, because now, even though Body Slam does not knock us out anymore, does not even come close, we can go for another Icy Wind, and this game is over. Like, there is nothing the opponent can do there anymore. They can go for the charge move if they want to, but they have like a low HP, double debuffed Greedent against the Deoxys, so let's move on to the next game. Next opponent coming up, let's take a look what they're going to run. They're going to run the Pidgeot in the lead. And here's something that I kind of have to say as well about this team. I would not recommend you to go for Thunderbolt on your Deoxys. I just had Thunderbolt on Deoxys prior. There is one big case kind of where you can make a case for the Thunderbolt, which would be the matchup for Registeel, where this team is going to be a little bit weak against anyway, where Thunderbolt is basically the only way to hit them, which was also one of the main reasons why I kept it. But I also have to say that, yeah, this team is just in general a little bit weaker. You can still deal with the Registeel with your Crunch Greedent, but I definitely have to say that I feel like that the Rock Slide would have helped me out a little bit more. Like, still, Thunderbolt does basically next to no damage against the Registeel. Here, of course, you're gonna get the debuff immediately, and they baited me on the shield, which was kind of wild. baited me with a more energy move. It's just kind of wild. But yeah, of course, it makes sense for the opponent to go for the Zap Cannon first because I need 2 charge moves anyway. And so go for the debuff first is kind of the way to go, I guess. But here we're going to be able to swap out. I want to go for the Thunderbolt. Did not work out at all, so they can go for the Thunderbolt here in time. I have at least 100 energy on my Greedent, which is going to be nice. I can just go for the Crunch here. This is going to go up against the Pidgeot, which is going to be a little bit sad because, I mean, they would have loved to have it against the Registeel, but they're gonna decide to go back into the Registeel after we farmed down the Pidgeot. We had just hoped for another defense drop and we're gonna get it immediately, which is actually crucial because now this Crunch should be enough to knock them out. It is not, but one more fast move is, and now we have to see what is going to be in the back. And it is basically the best possible matchup that I could have asked for. Like, honestly, unless they're running Sludge Wave, which is super rare, we are going to be so good here because we're going to be able to resist every single move that they're going to run, as well as we're going to be able to do some very decent damage with just the Icy Wind. We don't even have to go up even to the other move. They're going to shield anyway immediately. And I think the next Icy Wind plus the fast move damage will be even enough to knock them out. So as you're going to see here, we're going to be able to just win this game. Next opponent coming up, and here we're going to see the one matchup where I would really appreciate having the Rock Slide, because Rock Slide would do double super effective damage, plus it would be cheaper, plus it would be a little bit easier to get there in terms of your fast move timing, because you're going to get after 16 turns to the Thunderbolt and you need 14 turns for the Rock Slide. And basically, for Talonflame to get to the first charge move, they need 15 turns. So with Thunderbolt, you're 1 over. With the Rock Slide, you're 1 under. You always kind of want to be 1 under. So Rock Slide would even be a little bit more efficient there, making the matchup way, way better. And as you're going to see here in this matchup as well, while we're getting completely destroyed by this Talonflame, which just decided to sweep through my team, basically, or like want to sweep through my team, we're going to end up in a scenario where they can still go for a Fly. This Fly going to hurt quite a bit with like +3 attack, and they have a Poliwrath in the backside, decide to forfeit. But yeah, Talonflame can be a little bit of an issue. Again, if you're going to use Rock Slide, it's not going to be as much of an issue. Still also depends on kind of the situation you're going to be in. Here, for example, with a Greedent, you're going to be kind of fine as well against the Talonflame. It's a very neutral matchup for you. But here we're going to go up against the opponent's Jellicent. And we're actually going to get the defense drop here early on, which is kind of nice. Does not really help us out too much. What would really help us out is if we would get 2 defense drops, because I feel like then we would be able to farm them all the way down. I like this. I'm still going to be forced to go for another Body Slam eventually, because much shot is just not enough from a Greedent, especially as Greedent does have not really the highest attack. Plus, it's not going to be Step, so I feel like this was the right call. Maybe I actually could have farmed them down. Not too sure about it. Maybe I could have. Who knows? But you can still just go for some charge moves here against the opponents. Alone in Sandslash. No debuff here, which is okay. I can reach another Crunch, do some more damage, and counter should be all it takes later on to knock them out here. So we're going to be in a very decent spot. They are still going to be forced to throw because Shadow Claw does basically 0 damage against us, and we can swap out into the Deoxys. They are going to go for their own charge move, but I don't think I have to shield. Deoxys is just so bulky, and we're going to see in the back the Tentacruel. And honestly, I made a mistake here. I should have not went for that charge move, because now I am going to be stuck in this matchup with the what's called the Abomasnow against the opponent's Tentacruel, which of course is not a great matchup at all. I decided to go for a bait here, and this was so good because the opponent decided to use a shield here, allowing me to go for another charge move, but also going to get a double debuff onto their attack. And now we're going to get them into range for just 2 Psycho Boosts, and I know that they're going to still have the Alone Sandslash in the back. Look how little the damage this one did there. Well, that was kind of wild. But also, we're going to be in a spot now where I have 2 shields advantage against the opponent. I can just go for a Thunderbolt. Going to do enough damage for sure for another charge move to knock them out. Even if they're going to go for the debuff here, it does not matter at all. They don't even get it, and so this is going to be a very good game. Deoxys is just taking this one, and we can move on to the next one. This is actually the one with the Greedent in the lead. Yes, it is. I remember this battle. So this trainer, I met them several times actually in real life already at like tournaments. So shouts to you, know who you are, of course. But very cool to see some people that I know as well battling. There are actually other people coming up, or like at least one that I still remember that I know as well from in real life tournaments as well. So it's going to be kind of funny. But yeah, I battle against a lot of really good players here. If you saw my video yesterday about my Retro Cup team that I used, this literally got me up to the leaderboards, which is kind of wild. So I'm battling against all the pro players here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'm going to be able to go for some Body Slams against the opponent's Tentacruel, which is actually my favorite matchup nearly against the opponent. Maybe I guess like the lead of Deoxys against Tentacruel is kind of fine, but I'm totally liking this matchup. Sadly, they're going to get the attack drop, which is totally okay, like you're going to get it eventually. But I can still swap out here and go for a Thunderbolt and either force the knockout here or the shield, and both of them I'm going to be fine with. And I actually think that I take the knockout a little bit more even here. But in here comes the Greedent, they're gonna go for a crunch and they're going to have a mana bus in the back, and you know already what is coming up next. We're going to still have our good friend the Abomasnow in the back, and again, we're going to most likely see some nice Icy Wind action, which is going to be nice there. But the opponent overfarmed by so much here that I decide to go first into my Greedent, just trying to get some energy from the opponent, which does work out because Aerial Ace is still super effective against my Abomasnow, and so I'm going to be in a little bit of a better spot. And the cool thing here is I can go for a charge move. If they want to shield, they can shield, and they do shield. But I will be able to eventually just farm them all the way down, which is going to be amazing for me because there is not a lot that they can do about it. They're going to go back into their greed, and I decided to go for another shield. Not sure if this was actually the right call, but I feel like maybe even I would get still to charge more with my greed later on. But as you can see here, they're going to use a shield, but it does not really help them out too much because you're going to see as well, they can go for a body slam or like even a crunch here. I think if they went for body slam, they would have been so much better off. I don't know why they went for crunch, but this is going to be a good game. Next one, a Mind Joke. That's also someone that I know from tournaments. Very, very good Italian player. So shout out to you as well. He streams on Twitch as well, so definitely check him out as well there. But they are basically at nearly every tournament, which is kind of wild, honestly. Wish I would be able to do the same as well, but I just don't really have the time nowadays, which is kind of sad. But again, here we're going to see a very favorable lead for me. Going to be the Virizion, and they stay in here. And I was like thinking, what do they have in the back that might be weak against the Deoxys? And might be their favorite Pokemon. They are known for playing the Alolan Sandslash, and so at this point I wasn't really knowing what they're going to have in the back, but seeing the Guzzlord in the back, which is a Pokemon that is also going to be weak to fighting and stuff like this, I was kinda getting a little bit of a hint. I think at this point kinda I realized, okay, it's most likely going to be the Alolan Sandslash in the back. How am I going to be able to still win against it? So I decided to use a shield here because I feel like Greedent is still an important Pokemon for this matchup. Sadly, they're gonna get immediately the defense drop here, which is kinda annoying. But I kinda want to play around this whole scenario here basically because I know that they're going to have the Alolan Sandslash in the back, so I decided to swap out here into my Abomasnow, and yes, as we can see here, I was correct with that, and I decided to go straight for the Icy Wind. This is going to allow me to get the attack drop onto the opponent, and so I can survive their fast as well as charge moves a little bit easier, and most likely going to still get to another charge move here. They most likely fear the energy ball at this point because they need to keep their Pokemon healthy, and so I'm gonna be able to get a shield here with my Abomasnow, which is amazing, and I'm just going to keep this one. I'm just going to let it go through. I don't really care too much about it, and I can swap out into my Deoxys, and Deoxys does double super effective damage with counter, and that's why I kind of kept it as well. Going to be able to get them insanely low, but now I'm just going to hope that my Greedent is going to be able to win this game for me, and I was thinking that maybe it was a mistake to use a shield here. But as you're going to see, the opponent is not swapping out here. I can still go for the crunch. The crunch is going to get the knockout against the opponent. I know that the Guzzlord has some energy, but can we outspeed them? We can, and so we're going to be able to win this game. Good game to you, of course, as we can move on into the next one. Next opponent coming up. We're going to have a Nidoqueen on the lead. This is okay. I wouldn't say it's great. I would say it's okay. Yes, we are going to be a Psychic type, but also counter is resisted, and Psycho Boost is going to debuff ourselves after the first one, which makes the opponent easily survive the second one. It's an obvious play that I'm going to go for this one immediately because it's just not worth it to bait here with either Thunderbolt or the Rock Slide. So we're going to get them a little bit lower, but it's not really ideal either. I can still go for a charge move here with my Greedent, which is not going to get the knockout either here, as well as I can go for a Mudshot actually here, which is kind of nice, so maybe get them a little bit lower. Earth Power coming through. Again, very great play by the opponent to just go straight Earth Power, getting a lot of damage onto me. But they're going to have the Licky in the back, a Pokemon that you rarely really see, especially in the Ultra League. A lot of people say it's not really ideal, same for me as well. Like, I feel like there are just better Pokemon, for example, the Greedent. But as you can see here, we're going to be able to get some damage onto them. But I decided to swap out into my Abomasnow, saving my Greedent for a little bit, because if they swap out into the Licky here, they're most likely not going to have the best answer for Greedent in the back either. We can still go for the Icy Wind. Gonna get them low, and they're going to have a Scrafty in the back? Like, why did you not swap into this Pokemon earlier? And this is literally so confusing to me that I am screwing up the game here, I guess, with that. Because the swap is still kind of okay, because they're going to be able to get 2 Icy Winds off. I kind of felt like I had to risk it here, and so I decided to not go for a shield here and just think it's a power punch. It is a foul play. It doesn't knock me out because of the 2 debuffs, and I thought it would do even less than this, but it doesn't. And so I'm only going to be able to go for a Psycho Boost, gonna hit the opponent low, but they actually still have 3 Pokemon. While they're all going to be at like 1 HP basically, they're still going to get to 2 power punches. If I let the first move go through, I would have been in a better spot as well, and maybe would have been able to win this game, but so be it. Let's move on to the next one. Honestly, I did not expect it all, the Scrafty in the back. Here again, we can take a look at what Deoxys can do, and this is going to be a Psycho Boost and immediately dip afterwards, which is something that I like to do quite often. Of course, Gliscor is going to be an interesting pick for our Pokemon in the back there with the Abomasnow, but they're actually going to go straight for the Earthquake against my Greedent. I will be able to call it, and so I can prevent this here with using a shield. I can go for a Body Slam, which is going to also turn down the switch clock a little bit for us, which is kind of nice, because now they're going to swap out into the Clefable. And if I want to swap out eventually, I'm going to be able to do this after like 2 more charge moves that are coming in, so we're going to be in a decent spot here. Definitely like the spot we are in, because we're still going to be able to do a ton of damage against Clefable, and we get already a 3rd Body Slam onto them. And honestly, like, Greedent is so insanely spammy. It is just wild. We see the Moonblast coming through now, which does not really matter too much, because I can still survive it, and look at this, I can still go for another Body Slam. So we will get out the we're gonna get the knockout here, and we're gonna also get out the opponent's Gliscor. They decide to go for the CMP type, which is a smart decision, as this is going to be an Aerial Ace hitting me, so I know at least what kind of moves they are running. I can use a shield here, and you see already in what kind of position I want to get myself in. I want to get rid of the final Pokemon, which I'm going to be able to do now, and now I have Icy Wind, which is not gonna get anywhere anymore. Like, honestly, the opponent cannot go for any charge move or anything like this without the debuff, which is kind of nice. And we're going to see a Weezing in the back, which is going to be very weak against Psycho Boost, but also now because of the debuff, Brutal Swing is just tickling the Deoxys defense here, which is amazing for us. As we can see, you can survive another one, and you're most likely going to be even able to survive another Brutal Swing afterwards, which is kind of nice. You can go for the first Psycho Boost. It's more worth it to go for Psycho Boost here. There's no reason to risk a Thunderbolt bait. So yeah, gonna go for another Psycho Boost immediately afterwards. It does knock them out, but I need one more, which I can go for now to win this game and knock them out. So good game there, and we can move on to the next one. Final game for today, actually. Another Weezing here. Kind of funny that we start with, like, end with a Weezing on the last battle, and here start with a Weezing. But yeah, again, like, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video as well. Hope you enjoy those little bit longer videos. I feel like for those teams that really work out well and like around Pokemon, they're also a little bit funnier. I think it's a cool thing to have, like the Abomasnow or whatever, showcasing a little bit longer. Later on, we most likely going to see some top team videos as well. I have to do a little bit of university work as well, though, so hopefully I'm still going to get it all done. But yeah, hopefully we're going to see some top team video. But here we're going to see now the matchup against Poliwrath. Not really ideal for us, and not really ideal in general, how this entire situation is kind of going on here, because yeah, we're going to align our Deoxys again against something that I maybe don't really want to align against. The opponent goes for a charge move here, which is actually kind of nice. It's going to be the Icy Wind, so we're going to get rid of some of their energy. And I hopefully going to be able to go for the full farm down here, because then I would be able to also keep the Psycho Boost stored, which might be nice. And they're going to have a Giratina in the back, and they swap out into the Weezing, and I am in an interesting spot here. Not sure who's going to be able to win this. And it's honestly going to really depend on the move that they're going to throw here. If it's Overheat, it's going to be kind of over for us, but no, it's going to be Play Rough, and so we're going to get to another Icy Wind. This is going to drop the opponent's attack even further, so we're going to be able to survive any kind of charge move that is coming in our way. And like this, we're also going to be able to just go and swap out soon, hopefully. But no, we can just go for the full farm down. I have a move stored here. I can go for the move immediately. But I was a little bit scared that the opponent still gets to another charge move after this. They can go for it right now. It's going to be the Ancient Power. It's going to get the knockout. We luckily don't get the boost onto the opponent, but we can now retaliate with some Psycho Boost as the opponent's attack is debuffed as well. I'm fairly certain I can still survive a charge move from the opponent, unless it's going to be the Shadow Force. But as you can see here, the opponent goes for their own charge move. We can go for our charge move. This is going to be a CMP tie, but there's no way that they can knock me out. And so the final game is going to go to us as well. 19 minutes of belts here. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.